Our next speaker is Territa Poole. Territa is from the Department of Educational Studies in Psychology, Research Methodology, and Counseling.
I'm Territa Poole. I was born in Chicago, Illinois, but I've been in Alabama for the last several years. The title of my presentation was Learning and the Confusion Conundrum, and my study explores how the emotion of confusion impacts learning outcomes. I am not a traditional graduate student. I actually began my career in the life sciences and the biological sciences, but when I had children though, my focus shifted. My kids went to a fabulous school. We lived in a wonderful community, but they still struggled in school a little bit, and so I became interested in how I could help my children learn. This work is very important because education is important, learning is important. We want students to be able to go out and change the world, develop cures for diseases, build super structures and all these kinds of things. So we need to make sure that students are able to cope with the emotional aspects that come along with learning. People tend to overlook education. I think we take for granted that we learn, we take it for granted how we learn, we just think it happens. But we need to continue studying, learning, motivation, development, because all of these things impact education, which in turn makes the difference for everybody else out there, all these other professions. It's been said that confusion is evidence of ignorance leaving the mind. And studies actually show it improves complex reasoning and problem-solving skills, both essential in every field of study. Yet it's kind of a paradox because, well, confusion is this odd feeling of being thrown off in your thinking. It creeps in when your goals seem to be blocked or a gap in your understanding becomes suddenly apparent. For some students, confusion may even feel threatening, and they may quickly give up. But for other students, confusion feels, well, like a challenge, and there is something that propels them forward. And that's what happened with April and Casey, two of my own students who were confused about an assignment. Now, both were bothered by those feelings for sure, yet April, concerned mostly about her grade, wanted to drop the class. Meanwhile, Casey energetically pursued understanding like she was a conqueror on an expedition. But I wondered, why do some students perceive confusion as threatening instead of challenging? And could those differences in perception impact learning? Well, my dissertation explores those questions and could shed new light on the confusion conundrum. So this is what I've learned. Emotions are this multifaceted system of meaning and awareness. They tell us what's pleasant or unpleasant and arouse us to take action or tell us it's safe to relax. In many ways, they're critical to well-being and they impact every aspect of our lives. But contrary to some ideas, emotions aren't just simply stored in our brains waiting to be triggered. Instead, we construct them through this simultaneous blending of bodily sensations, learned belief systems and goals, and word labels like joy or confusion that we've been taught to use. So after talking to April and Casey, I thought about how confusion might be constructed, and I realized they had different beliefs and goals. April seemed to believe that learning is quick and her goal was about maintaining some kind of status. But Casey really wanted to improve her understanding and she set no time limits on the process. My theory is that feeling confused is an emotional cost of thinking deeply, but the effects on learning might vary and could be linked to students' beliefs, goals, and emotional perceptions. And that's what my study will test. A sample of students will answer questions about learning beliefs and goals, then report their emotions during a complex reasoning task. Afterwards, I'll compare the results to see if students similar to Casey scored higher. In the meantime, though, while I'm waiting to collect my data, my advice for you is this. When you're confronted by feelings of confusion, hang on because meaningful learning takes time. Evaluate your goals carefully to be sure they're aimed first at understanding rather than status. And then harness your emotional energy to forge ahead like a conqueror. Thank you.